This is Mason.
Jameson,
He scores! He scores! Woo!
Here in the 315, we love Lex.
Oh,
Memorial Day have done it again.
It's time for the Syracuse Lacrosse post-game show. Here's Brian.
Now, that was a lacrosse game. Man, oh man, that was fantastic. 16-15 Cuse. That was a wild ride of a lacrosse game for sure. Welcome into our post-game show today. Cuse beats Duke 16-15. Man, yes, Scotty, that was lacrosse at its entertaining best. Up and down, lots of hitting, great shooting, one-goal game, lots of runs back and forth, great crowd of nearly 10,000. Sounds like there were 9,300 and change in the Dome today from what they just said on the TV broadcast. Just a fantastic game. Today, really enjoyable watch, especially here for late in March here, just getting into ACC play. Big win for Syracuse, kicking off ACC play, and just a fantastic game. And with that, we will attempt to deliver you a fantastic show. How about this? We are potentially, let's say I got to move to the side of the microphone here. Like we're potentially moving into the merch business. We're potentially moving into the merch business here in a little bit. Repping a newly Simply Sweet Sisters put together a hoodie for the program. We're going to, over the course of the next few shows here, we're going to do a little crowd work to determine what kind of merch you might be interested in rocking to represent the 315 and its general. It's general stuff, but we just from the Simply Sweet Sisters shirt press. This microphone's really in the way from showing it off. But there we go. Yeah, there we go. It was 100% a championship weekend vibe, and here's what I love: Quint being Quint's a great dude, but he's a Hopkins guy, but he's a great dude. Quint, every time he's in the Dome. Every time he's in the Dome, he hypes up the Syracuse Lacrosse fans base lacks knowledge. It is not just a crowd. The Syracuse Lacrosse crowd, and this has been the case the entire time I've been following the program here for damn near a quarter century, if not longer, the Syracuse Lacrosse crowd is the most knowledgeable lacrosse. Not only are they the biggest group of fans and all that, they know what they are talking about. They cheer and boo at times that make sense, not just for sports, but like specifically in Lex. Yeah, that moving screen should perhaps be the player of the game. McCool's numbers in the fourth weren't crazy. I think he just had 4 saves in the fourth, but for a game where the goalies were getting lit up, he made like his ankle. His right ankle made that one save midway through the fourth quarter. Like, that's got to be ballooning like an SOB right now, because that shot was absolutely humming at him. But let's officially get things going today with our Thompson Road Tavern opening menu. I'll tell you what's going on at the TRT right now and tomorrow. Because this also has like breakfasty, brunchy vibes to it. Where did I put it? Here's my tab. They're doing it's Tater Tot Saturday. Yeah. Now, no word if they'll do this for you tomorrow, so you might just need tots for dinner. They've taken the tots and smothered them. Their words, not mine. In a rich, savory sausage gravy, and you can toss an egg on there if you'd like. Yeah. I mean, it photographs well. These tots look fantastic. Like, they took the sausage gravy and they tossed it on some tots. Where's the Thompson Road Tavern again, Randy? Well, I'll tell you this. They put it right in the name, the Thompson Road Tavern. It's on Thompson Road. Either A, you know how to get there already. B, go to 690, get off at Thompson Road, north. That's the one with the N. There's also a south. If you go south, wrong way, and then drive up the road, it will be on the right. And if you miss it, like, that's kind of on you. Like, come on, man. I put you on the right road. I got you off the exit. Go there. So there is Thompson Road Tavern. As far as our menu here today, your calls, link pinned top of the chat as per the usual. No, actually, did they change this? I've been saying link pinned top of the chat. Is this just me, or is this a YouTube thing? Link pinned bottom of the chat? Link pinned bottom of the chat? When did this happen? The link was pinned top of the chat on Thursday. It appears the link is now pinned bottom of the chat. What a time to be alive. The poll seems to be bottom of the chat as well. Is this just me, or has the whole YouTube world changed around? Yes, the person that helped make my shirt today likes the tots, so that all comes together. That all comes together. We like that. Link pinned bottom of the chat? This is bizarre. What world are we in? The link's there if you'd like to join the show. What other shenanigans will they pull? What other shenanigans will they pull? Anyway, link to call is pinned bottom of the chat. I'm going to have to change up my whole spiel, as is the poll, part of our Thompson Road Tavern opening menu, our poll for our Wild Birds Unlimited Big Air player of the game, of which Jimmy McCool's fourth quarter is currently in the lead. Joey Spallina, hot on his heels. Bear Anderson was fantastic today, likewise. Finn Thompson also in the mix. We'll get Gary Gait's post-game press conference with players. I'd say very often we've also been hearing from the opposing head coaches, so we likely will hear from the all-time winningest head coach, John Danowski. We'll see how that goes, if he hits the podium as well. We'll still... It's a lacrosse post-game show. They take their time. And we'll do that. We'll chop it up in the chat. We'll do all those things here, our normal post-game operations. There we are, our Thompson Road Tavern opening menu for the day today. And just to put this out there for Monday, we will be doing a special Jerry McNamara introduction bonus live in the 315 starting at 4 on Monday. So put that on the old calendar as well. That we'll be doing that on Monday. Joey Spallina has just taken over the lead in the poll. Joey's great today, 6 points. He's now past 300 all-time in his career. I'd say it's very possible Joey's going to catch, tie, or pass Mike Powell for the all-time scoring lead next game, next Saturday down at North Carolina. What a moment that will be. So that is something that we'll be keeping an eye out for, certainly in the near future for Syracuse. I believe he's at 301 points now. Duke Danowski's been doing it between Hofstra and Duke. He's been doing it for a while and has won three national championships. Unfortunately, the last one at the expense of the Orange, which was also the last time Syracuse was in the national championship game. The Bears in the poll, Randy. The Bears in the poll. Bear was great. Bears currently running third in the poll. Bear had 5 points today. I believe that was a career high for the Bear. He was fantastic. Bear Anderson was great. Supercat, I was, and Quint said it when he watched the replay. It looked like the call was correct, but, man, I couldn't believe they called it in that spot. And as early as it was in the possession, it was literally the first thing Duke did in that last possession. Like, that last minute was nuts. I mean, the Orange give up the goal that cuts it to 1. Then Mullen digs out the face-off out of a wild scrum, and they get it ahead. McCarthy has the ball. Duke does a great job doubling. Remember, he's got to get across the restraining line before Syracuse can call a timeout. When you're in the area between the top of the box and midfield, you cannot call a timeout. So Syracuse couldn't call a timeout. He couldn't get the ball ahead. The Duke guy just took it out of his stick. I don't think it ever hit the ground. And they get it down the field and get the timeout, set up the last play, and literally the beginning of the last play is a moving screen. Technically correct call. It's just fantastic. You wish there was stats for how fast-paced the game is? Yeah, I've never really, there are lax tempo stats out there in, the analytical dark holes of the internet for lacrosse. I've not really seen ones that really tell a total tale like you're asking for right there. I've seen ones that are these are the most efficient teams in the country, or their pace is fastest or whatever. But what you're saying, this was a really high action, high intensity up and down game. I've never really I've never seen anything for lacrosse. What is it baseball? What are the sports that have a game score, right? Where the more stuff that happens in the game, there's a higher a game score for the game. I'd love to see that. Like today's game, whatever you do it, today's game had a high game score. It was great. It was great. Yeah, who's the Bart Torvik of lacrosse? Where's the Evan Miyakawa of lacrosse? Where are these people? They might be out there, but they haven't really grabbed the throat of the lacrosse community yet. That's for sure. I see the podium now, so we must be getting closer to press conference time. We'll see who appears. We'll see who appears first. Gary's like the next time Gary appears first. That'll be the first. Good to see Paul Gait at the game today. They showed him on camera at one point. They said it was Paul's first game in the Dome since he suffered the injury that landed him in a wheelchair at the Gait Lacrosse warehouse. Now, when was that? 3 years ago. So, man, it was good to see Paul out there, and he was with Gary when the team came running out of the tunnel at the beginning of the game. So that was nice. Yeah, we'll take the win, Tim. Like all good. All good. Yeah, just here's the stat of how fast this game was. Game fast stat number. It's the fast game stat. But that was great. It was a very high quality game. Like Syracuse shot the crap out of it. Like they were just dropping bombs from the outside. They were picking corners. The Duke's guys were doing the same at one point. Jimmy McCool struggled in a way he really hasn't this season. They'll stepped it up late. Duke lifts their goalie Jameson mid-second quarter, and they bring in Blake, who really did the exact same thing. Duke's goalies combined to stop 40% of the shots. McCool not much better at 42%. But I wouldn't say that's because the goalies were really bad today. It's the offense was really high level. And Syracuse's offense, I believe it was 13 assists on 16 goals. That ball was a humming. How do they get the highlights up so quickly? They're cutting them during the game. So when you're at the end, Scotty, you just got to toss the last play on and hit export. That's how you get the highlights up quickly. I can't answer that question for you. And then Duke, John Danowski's son Matt, for many years now has been their offensive coordinator, and their offense has been bleh. It's been nutty talented. They've scored plenty of goals, but it's just been uninspired offense. Like, hey, here's a ball screen. Did that work? And it helped they had Brennan O'Neill for a lot of those years. They moved their long-time defensive coordinator, Ron Caputo, over to offense this year, and Duke's offense looks a little snappy here. Like, they still got talent, but there's some stuff happening now on Duke's offense where you're like, oh, they started doing things. I wish they'd stop that. I'd wish they'd stop that because, like, that's disconcerting. And you're looking at the state of the country right now. Notre Dame goes down at Virginia earlier today, so number one loses. I am not looking at it's not like it was a few years ago when like Maryland and Notre Dame were so clear ahead of the pack. Like Syracuse is in the mix to win the national title, but it's as deep a pool that I've probably ever seen because there is no like apex team right now. There is no apex team right now. Yeah, Duke had played an incredibly soft schedule, Scott. They played Denver on Sunday, who had been the best team they'd seen up to this point. They played, I mean, even for Duke, Duke usually plays a little bit tougher schedule than that. I don't know what led to that happening this year. For Duke, usually they got a game or two in there that'll challenge them. That was a very soft schedule they had played. But, like, even in defeat, I think Duke legitimized themselves today. Syracuse with a win now. How many have they won in a row now? They've won 7 straight games. 7 straight games? 6 straight games? I've lost count. They've won a lot of straight games. So there's just there's a lot going on in that game. Those are 2 really good teams. Next week, the Orange go to Carolina. Carolina is good, certainly really good on offense with Owen Duffy and Dom Petramala and Petro coaching on the defense down there right now. So there's like a lot going on in the ACC. So very surprising to see Notre Dame lose at Virginia today. That maybe tells you Virginia's a little friskier than you would have thought. And then Duke's top 2 guys, Sloat and Johnston, like, Sloat took 14 shots. Johnston took 9. They scored a combined 7 goals. And, like, they were going against Syracuse's 2 best guys. Figueres was guarding Sloat and gave up 4. And Dwan was guarding Johnston and gave up 3. So that tells you that's a lot of individual talent there. So especially with the state of the ACC, what we saw today, how balanced the league is, really good to get this win to start league play. Like, that's an important win for Syracuse in the scope of where the season goes and things like that. Again, waiting the arrival of anyone that was involved in this game that wants to talk Lax at the post-game press conference. We'll get that to you live as soon as it begins, be it Gary and players, be it perhaps John Danowski. The opposing Lax coaches here have been an enjoyable listen all season long. Even Notre Dame's coach on Sunday was gosh darn likable. Georgetown's coach, which was, yeah. Jimmy McCool just was like, I'm going to be bad for 3+ quarters, and then just like, I'll make some really nice saves, including one like just off his foot or ankle, wherever that hit. That had to hurt. My goodness, that had to hurt, because that shot was moving, and it changed direction off of McCool's body at a high rate of speed. Is it 6 now, Scotty? Thank you for counting. Yes, it was the last 4 on the road, then Georgetown, then this. So, yes, 6 straight wins for the Orange. You're over the hump of that bad week. Though those 2 teams you lost to, you talk about teams that are in the pool of teams capable of winning it all this year. Certainly both teams Syracuse lost to, and Princeton and Harvard are in that pool. You type, I think you overcame your autocorrect, Supercat, because you just said Dwan corrects to Dwan. I think you fixed it. Either that or we missed the joke. Yeah, like, I trust Jimmy McCool in big moments. Is he the best goalie in the country? Probably not, but he's really good, and he is not flustered by big moments. And he is not someone that requires the spectacular to have a big moment, right? He's solid positionally, he doesn't bite on fakes, and he is calm under pressure. Like, Will Mark, the previous goalie, he was more spectacular, right? He was more spectacular. He was a great goalie in his own right, but he was maybe more prone to things getting a little wonky late in games. He was more goalie-like, right? Like, Jimmy's just kind of hanging out there. Like, he's like, I'm here, I'm in the goal, like, don't worry about it. And it tends to work out okay. You were trying to type Swan. Everything just turns into Dwan. I like it. That means, I don't know why you'd be trying to type Swan, but I like that your phone now turns everything into Dwan. Yes. I've been noticing, like, when I caption videos now to post them, Supercat, and the various programs that do that, they're starting to finally, like Spalina, like, it wouldn't do it. Now they're starting to learn what I'm doing and get the right names there. Yeah. You'd pay to have Jimmy Cool's name? He might sell it to you. He could be entrepreneurial. Ground balls were dead. Yeah, I mean, it's an even game up and down the board. Duke had 9 more shots. Syracuse put 1 more than Duke on goal, so Syracuse had a better shooting day. Turnover, Syracuse had 4 more than Duke, but I could argue Duke's in many ways were costlier because of the fast breaks. They often directly led to, ground balls dead even, face-offs, Syracuse +2. Yeah, it was even up and down the board. It was a very, very even lacrosse game. It is a good time to remind people to subscribe, Pastor Tim. Listen to Pastor Tim. If you're here and you have not subscribed to the channel, just click the subscribe button. It's very easy to do. And if you'd like to be fiscally generous like Tim has just been, thank you as always, Tim, there's the $sign next to the chat box where you can give one of these highlighted chats, which are exciting and eye-catching. That's a very spring seasonal blue. Or you can become a channel member for various rates at various levels and support the channel in that way. All great options here as we hang in on this Saturday, awaiting for just anybody to appear at the podium. I see the back of Brent Axe's head. Like, Brent is there, ready to go, ready with the questions. We've got the link pinned bottom of the chat. I don't like that. I like to say link pinned top of the chat. Are they thinking that people's eyes are normally on the bottom of the chat because that's where the new stuff is, so your eyes go there, so people were missing, like, link pin top of the chat? Did I randomly click something that I don't know what I did and change it? Anything's possible. Anything's possible. Yes, base level is it's the low price of a $1.99 a month, or you can pay more money. You know, it's all your choice. We leave it all in your hands. Syracuse is better on the EMO. Scotty, the last Rowo goal was EMO. That ends up being the difference of the game. Matt and White, the Finn Thompson behind the back, that had a level of lax sauce on it because Finn never turned to look at the goal. He did not once look at the goal. He knew where he was, and because he knew where he was, he knew where the goal was. He snapped it off, and even when the ball went in, he pointed at Joey, but he never turned and looked at the goal. It's at the top of your chat, Mark? All right, then I don't know what I've done to put it at the bottom of the chat. Look at the top of I'd say the one place any of these things are probably not right in the middle of the chat. There we go. The stats were very even, Scotty. I mean, it was a very even game. This is not a game where you look at it and you're like, wow, I can't believe Syracuse won in spite of that, or I can't believe Duke lost because they did this. No, this is a very, very even lacrosse game. Possession felt about even. We had a good pace up and down. It was just a really fun game. Really fun game. We continue to await for Gary Gait. It is always a great day when you beat Duke. That is factual, Dan, in anything. Duke, how are you feeling about this? Tomorrow in basketball in Washington, D.C., as Syracuse fans, what are you doing with Duke UConn tomorrow? What? They can't both lose, so I'm told? I'm told one of them will win the game tomorrow? Disconcerting. One of them is going to win the game and then go to the Final Four in Duke UConn? It's just... I can't. I don't know what to do with it. For those that are just joining here as we go along, we're getting ourselves into the merch game here a little bit. This is a debut of a new Simply Sweet Sisters put together live in the 315. I have gone with a zipped hoodie because I like a zipped hoodie. So I think we'll do a poll maybe in one of the shows on Monday of what kind of stuff people prefer. John Danowski heading to the podium, and we'll see if we would put some T-shirts or hoodies or sweatshirts out there. We'll figure it out. Here comes John Danowski, everybody. Let's see what he has to say about life. Noted Long Islander, looking at the stats. John Danowski. Let's unmute him.
Yes, sir. I think for us, the hope is that we learned something from today. Congratulations to Coach Gait and the Syracuse team. I thought they shot the ball, played, for 60 minutes. I liked how the guys, we played 6 freshmen today. And this is this is the Super Bowl, right? Playing up here in the dome and the crowd and the noise and everything. And I just thought that they handled themselves really well, really well. And so the hope is that this experience, competing, to the final whistle, and even though it was a loss, will prepare us, going forward. So, again, congratulations to Syracuse, well earned, and looking forward already to next week.
Even he's gosh darn friendly. I don't know why there's a lip sync thing going on. Very peculiar.
Game like this when it's just like you said, teams are shooting lights out.
Yeah, both goalies made 11 saves, right? And, all 3 goalies, right? Both sides made 11 saves. So it's, you just got to hang in there and hope for the next one, or hope somebody misses. Or, you got to close out a little quicker defensively. You got to get on people's hands. And that's tougher, right? Because, if you, I think for both teams, that's not easy. So, I think Syracuse, they probably scored 3 times or maybe 4 at 15 yards or more. And usually our benchmark is 12 yards. We want to pick up at 12 or pick up at 13, and they were hitting from 15. You're playing good defense, ball goes in the goal, and, certainly Patrick has played really well all year. I didn't think he was seeing it. And so Henry Blake, who's a 5th-year senior, had played in some big games at Ohio State, and so thought that he might have been, a better option for us today.
Yes, Matt Danowski is actually currently starring in a Godzilla movie. I've heard Godzilla is currently on top of the dome.
Sure, the whole time. Patrick has been our guy for 3 years, and but it wasn't necessarily in the goal even clearing. Our scheme was to clear the ball away from the box, to what we call attack the ladder, and he wasn't attacking the ladder. So, we thought maybe he was a little bit off today. And so when we saw that in combination with a couple of saves that normally he makes, but again, in this environment, it's tough to judge, that for sure.
What kind of prevented you from going back to Patrick after you decided to make the switch?
Game was close. The game was close, and Henry made that one save in the outlet, I think, to Aiden McGuire, and then he got an assist, and we're like, okay, as long as he can keep us in there. And I said to the team, listen, some weeks you win 8-7, like last week, and some weeks you're going to win 19-18. I didn't know we were going to lose 16-15, but, the idea is every game has its own personality, has its own story. That's what makes sports or, our sport so much fun, is that, this game was, up and down, and our guys hung in there, and a lot of unique goals. Right, Billy Dwan, scores that goal, with the pipe. We get a rebound, they score off the face-off, we score off the face-off. There was a lot going on today.
Yeah, to whoever said it there, the Bear Anderson one-handed pass was probably the best play of the game. That was ridiculous. He threw a seed.
I think, I would say for us, when we look at it, if we were to look at the film, I would say that we allowed him to get to his strength and to do some things that we knew about, and then a little bit was he took advantage of our lack of discipline, especially there was one of his first goals right in front of our bench, where Henry Bard just tried to do too much, as opposed to be an athlete, move your feet, stay topside, and that's what good players do. Good players don't necessarily overwhelm you athletically, but they take advantage of when you make a mistake. And then you put 6 guys out there like Syracuse does, and, it makes them really dangerous.
Not Kevin Corrigan, Randy, but most of them are reasonably friendly folks.
Fire finishes.
Yeah, again, he scored a goal, I think, in that first quarter, on the back pipe. And those guys do a great job of they've been together for a while. They know each other, right? They know, if I'm going to move right, you're going to move left. They can anticipate, each other's movements. And I think that, for us, that's hard. We don't see that in practice. You can show them on tape, but you really can't emulate that in practice, especially when you go, and I'm not disparaging our second team, but when you practice against your second team and scout and prep, it's just not quite the same as it is game speed on game day.
Breaking news: Duke's backups not as good as Syracuse's starters.
Yeah. From what we think, the Syracuse defender pushed Tomas, and that caused the penalty, which is something you're not supposed to do. But even officials make mistakes, and it was just. And we said to Tomas, "Hey, listen, that didn't cost us the game. There's so many plays that happen over 60 minutes that, yeah, that's an extreme one, and everybody will kind of remember that. But that's not the reason that we lost, and so don't hang your head. Easier said than done, from here."
What a polite way to complain about the referee.
John, Joey's closing in on the all-time scoring mark at Syracuse. The game's changed even since the guy's trying to top Mike Powell, but can you put into context what that means, that somebody's about to top that record and what Joey's accomplishing?
Well, I coached both his uncles, Brian and Eric, who played for me at Hofstra. So I've known the family, and the grandfather and I played high school football together. So I don't know if I should say that. Guys will think I'm old. But, it's one of those things that great players, and I think Joey might be you'd be one of the first people to say this, have to be surrounded by other great players in order to achieve those kind of milestones. Joe Montana needed Jerry Rice, and I always kind of make that analogy that, his ability to make his teammates better, his ability to be fundamentally sound, and not, he's not hunting for points. Today he's not, It's clearly he's just part of a group of 6 guys. But when the game comes to him, he makes really good decisions. He was courageous going to the goal there, in that last couple of minutes, by throwing his body at the goal. It does all the things that that good teams need to have, in order to win. And he also serves, when his teammates look down that end, they know it's going to be okay. Everybody just takes a deep breath and goes, all right, it's going to be all right.
You taking out Desco? Come on now, Scotty. Be nice to John. John's very nice. Though that was his role when Roy was the head coach, to be that guy.
Half, it didn't help. They were 3 for 6 overall on man up, and we knew coming into the game that certainly they were really, really dangerous, their man up unit. So overall, and it also takes away momentum. That if you can play 6-on-6, get a stop, you can play offense. Well, now again, you get a stop, flag was down, now you got to play man down again. That's way too much, for us. Will Pedicano is a freshman. He got that penalty. He's running into, he makes contact from behind. I'd like to think that he won't do that again this year. And that's something that our young guys have to learn from. But, that penalty at the end, this is one of those things in lacrosse. He launches himself. It's a 1-goal game. What are you going to do? Defensively, you're going to sell out. Back in the day when I played, that would not have been a penalty. That would have been just business as usual. The game gets adjudicated a little differently now.
He's not wrong on that. Though everyone involved in that play probably should have just been put in injury tent.
What are the major takeaways from playing in quote-unquote tougher competition?
I don't subscribe to any of that. You show up and play the games. It's the whole ranking thing. I think there are teams that don't have a 500 record that are ranked like in the top 10. Well, I don't know that they deserve to be in the top 10. I thought Harvard, when they were 2-0, had beaten Syracuse and somebody else. I thought they should have been number 1. And, people had them. All that stuff is, it's not very transparent. It's just, it's great for, I guess, fans, But for us, being on the road, losing by a goal, we can work with this. The goal is now to get better, and Virginia, comes around quickly, next Saturday.
Anyone that's willing to take shots at Maryland's okay in my book.
Freshman attackers that play regularly and start regularly. How do you feel that they handle the pressure of a loud environment against a top-5 team in Syracuse today?
I'd have to take a look again at the tape, but if you think about Kyle Colsey, right? His father, Lacrosse Hall of Fame, Syracuse All-American. It had to have been hard for him today, And I am sure that he was squeezing his stick a little bit tighter, probably, didn't want to, not necessarily not want to make a play, but not want to make a mistake either. And, and I think there was a lot of pressure on Kyle. And he scored early, and I thought that was awesome. But, as the game went on, I think he deferred a lot today. Michael Ortlieb scoring 3 goals. I got to imagine, that's going to be great for his confidence. Brady Scoletti is another freshman, who's playing and on offense. And Brady, I thought, deferred a little bit to the upperclassmen, which, they're trying to be good guys, but the team needs you to be a little more assertive.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks.
All right,
thanks, everybody.
John Danowski, who's apparently in a Godzilla movie. We'll see if we can't fix that before Gary and crew arrive for the post-game press conference. Maybe a refresh will do something. Scotty, to your point, yes, Desco did mellow in his latter years as a head coach a little bit. And he was always this way. Like when you took him off the lacrosse field, he was always a very nice guy. So that never changed. Randy, I'm gonna take it way further than you. I am 100% certain Joey's not in the top 5 Orange players of all time because Powell, Gait. Like, I was doing this a few weeks ago, and again, this is nothing against Joey. This is a compliment to the last 4 decades of Syracuse lacrosse. Joey might not be in the top 20 players of all time at Syracuse. And not an insult. Not an insult. Joey's fantastic. If Syracuse wins the title this year, Joey's legacy is going to be wildly, wildly important in Syracuse lacrosse history. but there have been so many just all-time great lacrosse players at Syracuse. I disagree with that, Scotty. The 22, I think it has great meaning. Like, if Gary Gait, who started the whole thing, is cool with people wearing his number, like, why stop it? Like, why stop it? Do I think Bear could be the next 22? I don't know. I'm not really up on. I need to get up on my lax Cruton for next year. I don't know if they have anybody immediately coming in the pipeline. I don't know if there's anybody on the roster right now that will be on the roster next year. That's a 22 type. Not immediately. Not immediately. I always generally prefer to have one on the team than not, but I don't like handing it out all willy-nilly. I'm also cool it not going to a freshman, so yeah, but I'm not seeing anybody that's like, yeah, that's got to be the next Double Deuce. All right, let's see if we can fix this this Godzilla taking over the world press conference situation before Gary gets up to the podium. It'll be a mystery though, because I refreshed it and we won't know anything until Gary gets up to the podium. Bear was fantastic today. Today was the best game of Bear's career. That one-handed pass across the crease was unbelievable. The ones before Joey didn't deserve. I mean, like Joey. I mean, the immediate one before Joey, that was going well until it became a legal issue. The one before that, like Jordan Evans, I mean, clearly didn't play up to it. He was the number one recruit in the country. You feel bad it didn't work out. Like Dan Hardy was 22. Was he quite to their level? No, but he was an All-American. He won 2 national titles. JoJo Marask, Cody Jamieson wore it there for a year. Okay. He had a really good season. JoJo Marasco wore it for 3. He was a really good player. His career ended in the national championship game as the best player on that team. And Jay Scanlon, yeah. I mean, his talent, but yeah, there's just it went awry off the field for Mr. Scanlon. It went awry off the field for Mr. Scanlon. So not every 22 has been the best. It helped that you had 10 consecutive years of Powells in there that wore it. That helped the whole thing. Yeah, I don't mind, Scotty. Like, I understand why Joey got it right away. Like, I don't mind keeping it on the shelf for a year. I don't mind giving it to use it in different ways, right? It doesn't need to be just a recruiting thing. It can go, like, say you got somebody and they become a star and you can give it to them for their senior year because they're the guy that year. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I think there's a lot of ways to figure those things out, right? I think there's a lot of different ways to approach that. Like, they didn't have a 22 the year after Mike Powell graduated, and then what happened? Their streak of 22 consecutive Final Fours crashed and burned immediately. So, you never know. Isn't there another Powell? I mean, they do have a younger brother, Mason Powell. He ended up being a hockey goalie. He's now probably in his 30s at this point. We're actually now to the point where, like, Casey's daughter Bella is playing college lacrosse now. Where is she? At Quinnipiac? Where is she? I've lost track of where she's at. Like, we're to the point now where the Powell children are coming of college age. Is there a fifth Powell? Like, do they have another younger brother? Like, Mason's like already through. He played college hockey at somewhere, Ithaca or something like that. The oldest brother's son. What, Casey's son? Yeah, like Casey Powell, right? Like, Mike's my age, so Mike's 44. Casey's like in his 50s. This is how old we are right now. JMU, could that be it? I forget. That sounds about right. Bella Powell is somewhere. That's it's Bella. I think it's Bella. That's Casey's oldest daughter. There's a Brody Powell. I don't know. Is that Casey's son? I mean, the family tree is expanding. It's the family tree is expanding. I can't. Oh wait, there's an older Powell. Casey's not the oldest Powell brother. I did not know that, Jen. The oldest brother has a kid. Oh my goodness. I can't keep track of this Powell family tree. It's all over the lot. It's all over the lot. He's a lefty attack player in the class of 2028. All right. Is he good? Where is it? Where? Like Mason, the oldest brother went to Lemoyne, didn't play lacrosse in high school. Like Mason Powell, the youngest brother, was a hockey goalie. I know that. He was like quasi significantly like he was not. He was multiple years younger than Mikey. Your son, okay. Jen's done recent research on this. I will defer to your recent research. We like it. We like it. Yeah, there's a lot of women's lacrosse players in the mix. I think Ryan's got a couple of girls, if I'm correct. It's hard. There's a lot of freaking Powells out there. Does Mike have kids now? Like, Mike's in the woods somewhere. Like, I can't keep track of all these Powells. They're all over the place. Obviously, both of Gary's kids have already gone through school on the Gait side of things. Taylor played lacrosse at Syracuse for, I believe, 17 years. She had a lot of medical red shirts before becoming an All-American, and his son Braden played at Princeton. I don't know Paul. I don't know about Paul Gates. Does Paul have? I don't know Paul Gates' family tree either. We gotta. This is what happens when you wait for Gary. Like Gary's not really, the fastest person to get places. It's just not his shtick. Shout out to the Thompson Road Tavern as it's on the screen right now. And do check in on the Wild Birds Unlimited Big Air player of the game poll. Joey Spallina currently in the lead right now. Joey had a very nice game today. 6 points, very nice game today. A long pull at the crease. Yeah, Billy Dwan's. I now predict a Billy Dwan goal every game in No Wrong Answers, and I'm not going to stop. His goal today was asinine. It was the first goal of the game, so it was like, what? Like, he was behind the crease, like, falling over, stuck out his stick, and just, like, stuck it in. I think he even made the noise while he was shooting. He's like, hey, goalie. And tossed it in the corner. It was a ridiculous goal. Billy is really talented. Really talented, and we can even get over that his dad was a longtime assistant coach for Johns Hopkins. That's okay. That's okay. There's a lot of family trees in lacrosse, as you can tell. Continuing to wait for Gary Gait and players. Gary does take his sweet time. The game ended 45 minutes ago. You think he's got like places to go and things to do, but whatever. Yeah, No Wrong Answers was pretty nails on this week. Aside from a cool save percentage, like we had the face-off pretty dialed in. We had a Spallina game pretty dialed in. The final score was pretty dialed in. I had 14-13 Q's, but we'll take that. Yeah, Luke Roa had a hat trick, so we were kind of dialed on that. We liked a good Bear Anderson game. Yeah, No Wrong Answers was on it. No Wrong Answers was pretty locked in, and we got the goal from Dwan. So we'll take it. We'll take it. Show the hoodie again? Sure, we can show the hoodie again. As you can see here, it says live in the 315, the name of our Monday and Thursday show. Yes, Paul was there. They showed him on TV. They showed it late in the first half. I think they showed it. He was down on the field with Gary, and when the team came out of the tunnel, then he was up in one of the boxes during the game. So what we're going to do here, we're working on designs and whatnot. Like there's going to be a design like this, I think, and then maybe a little something on the back. We'll see. The Angelo goal was kind of wild. It's a Simply Sweet Sisters production. So we're going to crowdsource it because we want to produce the things you guys will actually buy and wear. I am a zip hoodie person. That's why this is what we have made today. So we'll do a poll at some point, but you can just let it fly here if you want T-shirts or regular sweatshirts or hoodies or zip hoodies or whatever. Then let us know. And they are not for sale at this second, Wheeze. They will be for sale at some point sooner than later. As a part of a Simply Sweet Sisters production. So are they for sale at this second? No, but they will be for sale at later time. You don't like the zip. We's anti-zip. I'm pro-zip, but this is why like I can get them made special to order. All right, Gary's in. Let's see if he's also Godzilla. I don't know.
Damn, girl. What do you do? Damn, girl.
Let's see. Are they talking at the same time? Are the words coming out of their mouth at the same time as they're talking? We still don't know. Gary Gait. It's a mystery. Gary, go.
Exciting day.
No.
Great day to be in
Something
the dome
screwy
again.
on their end. This ain't me.
Incredible energy, and I thought our guys, played hard. That was a really good Duke team, and we knew that. Obviously, 8-0, undefeated coming in here. Gave us everything we could handle. I think I'm proudest of the way we finished the game. The last couple games, we've had a rough fourth quarter, and I thought we executed really well and, finished that game. I think that was a disciplined Syracuse fourth quarter that didn't give the game away. So, and we got the win, and it's a huge win from the ACC. They don't come easy, and that one certainly didn't, but we're happy to have it in the books and ready to move on.
I have no idea what this is causing this limp sink. I blame somebody else because I don't think there's any way I'm possibly doing it. Yeah, there we go.
Making 4 saves and just having to make any kind of saves they could in a game like that.
Oh yeah, both teams had 11 saves, and Jimmy got them when we needed them. That's why I said the fourth quarter, and I think John Mullen in the fourth quarter did great job on the faceoffs, got the wins when we needed them, and it was just a team effort. We got the stops on D that we needed, and we scored the goals when we needed them. So, like I said, it was just a good team effort and pretty disciplined and focused group that didn't make many mistakes down the end.
Yeah, Finn, how did those kind of quick release finishes become part of your game, and talk me through?
Because he's from Canada.
All on quick releases.
I think the inside's definitely my game, a little more so than other guys. But it definitely comes from playing box across my whole life, and then obviously having a great feeder and Joey behind at X. He kind of just finds me in there, leads me with the ball, and just kind of put it in the back of the net.
And he's from Canada. And once again, he and Joey have used all the eye black.
Overall, just how do you see your game kind of go from last year to this year to kind of have some of this success?
The Bear.
Yeah, today for sure. Definitely getting into my spots, getting where I want to, and just trusting my teammates. Everyone did a great job passing, scoring the ball. We had a ton of hockey assists. And I think last year, I just trust myself even more. I just have more confidence. But that goes back to my teammates and coaches who do a great job.
Confidence to throw crazy one-hand passes zipped across the crease.
At the different, schedule.
Yeah, Mike definitely started the excessive eye black trend, and it carries on today.
Prepared you guys for ACC play and kind of battle tested you. I was wondering if you felt that was reflected down the stretch with how resilient you were and not giving the game away and staying disciplined in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it really was. We've had some other games where we haven't been as dialed in the fourth, but fortunately we had bigger leads and we were able to hold on. But this one, we're in the ACC and everybody's good. I think Virginia just beat Notre Dame today, so like I said, everybody's good. So, to come out on top on this one, a great start, huge game, and now we move on to Carolina, so should be a fun one.
Carolina, who was also good.
Last minute of the game, and as you mentioned, you've been playing tough games this entire season. Multiple came down to the last shots. What do you tell your team when it goes down to that last shot game, and what's the mindset for your group going forward?
Well, when they have the ball, it's like, let's get a stop. Unfortunately, we didn't on the first one with 40 seconds left, but we were fortunately up by 2. We had that cushion, and you got to trust in what you do. And Coach O had the plan in, and fortunately they set a moving pick, and we got the ball back, and we're able to end it. The face-off before that, we had possession. We turned it over. It was a tough play, double, triple team. Tough to find the player. We weren't in the box, so we couldn't call a timeout, or we would have. And, we gave them back the ball and that opportunity. But the resilience showed, and we were able to hang on.
It was technically a front flip, Scotty, and he called it the move. He painted himself in the corner. He promised it, so he knew he had to break it out before the end of the year.
The late stages Yeah. Luke obviously has a great shot, right? I think he's one of probably the few guys on our team that can probably hit a 16-yarder. So, I think that, that gives teams, right, like they have to go out and play him, right? So I think, I don't think Duke really realized that till his third goal. He had, I think, 3 man-up goals, and they were all just absolute hammers. So, I think just putting, me and Luke, right, in spots where, Luke's going to be able to shoot the ball, and I'm going to be able to, give it to him. Luke's a great player. He's a great teammate, and just a guy that you want on your team. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, the guy shoots the hell out of it, right? So I think just getting him in space and, letting him shoot the ball is good. So.
Yeah, bowling ball. That's a fact. It's wide open.
Probably just more.
And Luke Rowe is good at shooting.
But did you know first off that you were passing over that mark with that 1 point you had? And
yeah.
Did it feel a little bit better with you?
Yeah. I knew I was close. I didn't know exactly how many. To be honest, I didn't think I played particularly well today. I think 6 turnovers is too much. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but 6 turnovers I think is too much. Sorry, John, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but no, I mean, I think I've shown, right, I'll do whatever I have to do to, help our team win, right? If it's a game where I have 1-1 or a game where I have 2-4, I don't think it really matters to me as long as we win at the end of the day, and I'll just do whatever I got to do, and yeah, that's really it.
It is an impressive eye-black situation for young Spallina today. But yeah, he did pass 300 career points, and he's a similar game away from catching Mike Powell next week.
Yeah, I think him coming out of the midfield, right, it's tough, right? When your first line, right, is, 3 guys you probably have to pull. It's tough, right, because somebody's got to get the shorty. And Peyton's obviously a pretty big dude, and, I think he does a great job, right, of, kind of running through checks and stuff like that. And, I think he does a great job of putting himself in, 3-step dodging spots where, somebody has to kind of short approach him, and, it's pretty tough to slow him down when he gets going. And, I think he's just been shooting the ball good. So I don't know if Finn's got anything to add, but it's kind of what I had.
Yeah, definitely a very versatile player. When we get him to his spots, he's basically unstoppable, and when he's going out there throwing one-handed skip passes, he's even more unstoppable. So that's all I got.
Nasty.
Joey's got like Ultimate Warrior vibes going today. Finn's is like just large triangles.
Kind of how you cultivated that, and then connecting with him with 2 assists today.
Yeah. I think after playing box for a bit, right, I think I kind of know what he's going to do before he even does it, and I think it's just reps, right? It's it's the same thing with a quarterback and a wideout, right? It's just the more that you throw to him, the more that you play together, right? I think the more chemistry that we have, I'm not sure the correct goal, but I'm pretty sure I've fed him a pretty good amount, and I just know where he's going to be. He's such a great off ball player. That it's tough to guard him, and when he's playing the way that he is, right, it allows guys like Peyton, to not have a pull, which just helps our offense just flow and just keep doing what it's been doing. So
the locker room application of the eye black and mirror shots of it is a staple of like the postseason Lax highlight video, especially if you get a good mirror angle. It's really the gold standard.
I was just kind of wondering if you could take me through that play and what kind of action was that?
Yeah, I picked up the ball at the end line. I realized there was like less than 15 on the shot clock, so I saw Peyton with a shorty. I said, let's get him the ball. Then he just did his thing, went underneath, and he did something I'd never seen him do before. But
never seen that.
It was just a great play and very heads-up play.
Yeah, it was short time, like Finn said. I saw Finn's defender kind of hedge over to the opposite pipe, which wasn't smart. So I had the stick in one hand and short time, so why not try it? And it was perfect. So
those dumb dookies.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have. We've seen
We've definitely seen it.
No, it has.
Definitely not right on Finn's ear.
No.
Yeah. We've seen it.
Take 2 more. We'll start with 3 more. Go right in the back.
Gary, you mentioned on Thursday some visualization and some things you tried out in practice to work on that discipline. Did you see anything carry over into this game that you worked on?
I was proud of the way we played in that fourth quarter. Only these guys know exactly what they did, but they got it done. It was awesome. From our offense, 0 penalties. We've had a lot of penalties from our attackers and midfield, and none in the offense today. That was discipline. There's opportunities to take those swings and pay guys back a little bit, and they didn't do it. They played smart and put the ball in the net and played a great game. So they were mentally prepared. So whatever they did, most of the work, all that work's really done on your own. We talked about it. We did a short session, but really it's what these guys do to prepare.
Gary loves the visualization back in the day. He loves it.
Just how did it feel that Paul was here, and I think it was high-fiving the team on that.
Oh, it was awesome. He's been through 2 years of hell, I think 14 surgeries, stuck in bed for a year and a half, and to have him back out, getting about, it's awesome. So I know he's happy about being here, and he said it's a lot better ride home when you win. So he's excited for us. He loves this team, so it's awesome to have him.
Duke came in 17 goals. That's the best in the country per game. How do you assess your goalie, Jimmy McCool? How did he do? Obviously, it was a test. He had his highs and lows, but overall, how do you assess his performance?
And how big is Jimmy's ankle right now?
Second half, especially late fourth quarter.
Well, I think both goalies had a good first quarter, and then kind of the middle of the game was tough. They were getting their looks. They dialed in their shooting, and they were hitting off the pipes and in. So they were great shots. But our defense stuck with it, and he made some great saves in the fourth quarter, and a couple that turned into goals down the other end, which was awesome. So, that's incredibly important to have a goalie that you can trust and believe, and when it's not going well, he can turn it around. He did it today.
For anyone that wants to jump in, Billy Dwan has now tied the record for most long stick goals by a Syracuse player in history, and the goal he had today, literally, a Duke player tripped over his back and he's bending off defenders.
Yeah.
How hyped up were you guys to see the long ball doing that, getting the pole goal with so much physicality?
Yeah. I will say, right, when Billy starts to sprint over the midfield line, right, something's crazy is about to happen. I don't think Billy scored an ugly goal, right? I think he scored BTB between the legs, right? When he scores, right, it's just an extra jolt, right? I would say anytime when a pole goal is scored, right, it's just an extra jolt, and I think Billy's just an unbelievable player, and he's a pretty offensive-minded defenseman. He's a big Islander fan, so it's a little bit of that in him. But Billy's just great. So
Joey is a Rangers fan.
Thank you.
He's not afraid. Joey's a very proud Rangers fan. He's a huge hockey fan. So a little shot at Billy Dwan, who's apparently an Islander fan. Dwan may have more career goals than Jordan Evans did. That's I'm gonna look that up. We're gonna look that up here. We're going to look that up right now before we get to the end of the show. If you want to sneak in any quick call, we'll be wrapping this up shortly. Link pinned top or bottom of the chat. Find where it is. It's there. It says your thoughts, ? Let's hear them, ! And then there is a link. Jordan Evans. Click. We're clicking. Jordan Evans. Stats. Click. Career. Click. Jordan Evans, well, he had 57 career goals. Dwan does not have that many. He did have, Jordan Evans had 27 goals and 19 goals in his last 2 years. He was a perfectly fine player, Jordan Evans, in his last 2 years. He just wasn't a 22. He just wasn't a 22. Jordan Evans' career finished 57 goals, 36 assists. More than I think people would guess based on the hype gone wrong. Around his general career. I've lost track of how many Dwan's got right now, other than a lot for his position. They said today Dwan is the third highest scoring long pole in Syracuse history, behind only, I don't know if you've heard, that Rick Beardsley is a 4-time All-American. I am not sure if he's ever mentioned it. And Joel White, who was just fantastic. Joel White, as a long pole, named Midi of the Year his senior year in 2011. So those are the two that are ahead of Dwan. Where's Dwan? He's probably down by his uniform number if I had to take a guess. Billy, Dwan, clickety-click, stats, career. Does this include today? I think Billy's got 18 career goals, which is a lot. A lot for his position. Yes, herringbone is a pattern. Herringbone is a pattern, not a color. Whether you want it for your flooring, that is all your choices. All right, let's officially end the poll here. Well, actually, before I end the poll, I need to fire up. Will we get live birds today? Log in. Why do I always gotta log into my stuff? I don't want to log in. I want to be logged in. Will there be a bird? Will we get live birds like we did in just a great moment of fortune last week when Jerry was named as the head coach, and then a Cardinal was hanging out. All right, here we go. Our Wild Birds Unlimited backyard bird cam as we name our Wild Birds Unlimited Big Air Player of the Game. There is not a bird currently there, but that doesn't mean there might not be one before the end. What's the temp in Syracuse? Cold, Scotty. It was 20s this morning. It might be low 30s. Right now. I think it's going to be 70, though, by Monday or Tuesday, so that's nice. All right, we shall end the poll, and the winner of today's Wild Birds Unlimited Player of the Game, we had four possibilities. Finn Thompson, who was great today with a hat trick. Bear Anderson, a career-high 5 points. Jimmy McCool, but just his fourth quarter in which he had 4 saves. And Joey Spallino had 6 more points and passed 300 for his career. Finn takes home 8% of the vote. And he had that nasty behind-the-back shot. Bear Anderson, the highlight one-armed pass, gets 19% of the vote. Jimmy McCool, just his fourth quarter, takes home 31% of the vote. And the second all-time 300-point scorer in Syracuse Lacrosse history now, Joey Spallino with 42% of the vote. And there's a bird arriving. Wow, live bird. It's a female northern cardinal with some spiky hair in the wind. Yeah, I can identify my birds now. A live bird has graced Joey Spallino as our Wild Birds Unlimited Player of the Game, and the Northern Cardinals salutes Joey for his 300-plus now career points. And if you'd like to buy some stuff at Wild Birds Unlimited, you're too late today unless you want to do it online, which is also a great option. But the doors open in both Fayetteville and Camillus at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and they will both be open until 4 on a Sunday. This Northern Cardinal's a bit shy. Not like the one last week that was camera center. This one's kind of, scooching to the end of the frame. Come on, Cardinal. Get over to the middle. All right. I don't know. Joey Spallino, our Wild Birds Unlimited Big Air Player of the Game, as is this Northern Cardinal that is essentially completely out of the frame. Like there's just a little feather action coming in. You can tell it's windy out by the plumage of the Cardinal being kind of all over the lot. So there we are. Our Wild Birds Unlimited Big Air Player of the Game. As far as things coming up Monday, stay tuned on Monday morning. We'll have a normal Monday show. We may need to start a little bit later on Monday, so 11:30. We'll just be ready to watch things on Monday morning, and then we're just going to do a full-on spectacular on Monday afternoon starting at 4. We'll get Jerry's introduction, however they do that, and then I have promises in writing that Jerry's press conference, it's going to be a separate thing, but right after his introduction on Monday, so we'll roll right into that, and we'll do a whole thing on Monday starting at 4 and going until ? Bonus points is that I'm also going to be calling it my class for my students on Monday. So we're combining everything into one big pot and doing it up on Monday here on the channel. So that's the plan on Monday. Next Lax game is next Saturday, Syracuse and Carolina, down in Chapel Hill. We'll have postgame for you after that one as well. Standard schedule rest of the week during the week. Jordan on Wednesday, and then live in the 315 on Thursday. And then I imagine we'll be having basketball coaches and stuff and whatnot to talk about during the course of the week. So with that, we shall officially bring it to a close here on this Saturday afternoon into evening. Syracuse knocks off Duke today in a wild one, 16-15, to enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll talk to you again when we are live in the 315. Now on shirts, coming soon for purchase. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you Monday morning.
Thanks for watching the 315 with Brian Higgins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. We'll see you next time.